Katolik University, Mr. Mangadar Situmorang. Also the Honorable Vice Rector of Parahyangan Catholic University, Professor Tri Basuki Jono, Mr. Gary Lusanjaya, and Pastor Harimanto Suryanugraha. Also the Honorable Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Dr. Pius Sugeng Prasetyo, and all distinguished faculty boards. Also, I would like to Chairman of the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Mr. Bonggas Adichandra. Also the honorable speakers, Professor Sukawarsini Djelantik, Professor Fedi Hadish, and also Professor Yondosh. And the honorable lecturers, presenters, participants, and all distinguished attendees that are present today.
Recording in progress.
Good morning and welcome to the 61st Dies Natalis of the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences and also the 3rd Biennial International Conference on International Relations, or ICON-IR, which this year's topic, Navigating the Years of Living Dangerously, New Issues and Perspective. My name is Asia to you. I will be your Master of Ceremony for this special occasion. Now, before we start, I would like to invite all the guests to participate and to rise to the national anthem of Indonesia Raya, and which will be followed by Hymne Unpar and Hymne FISIP. Please have a seat. Distinguished guests, to open the 61st Dies Natalis of Faculty of Political Sciences and the third, I invite the Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Dr. Pius Sugeng Prasetyo, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable, the head of the Parahyangan Katolik University Foundation, Pastor Hendra Kimawan OSC, Rector of University, Pengajar Sitimorang, and also the Vice Rectors, Patri Basuki, Romari, and the colleagues and speaker who are attended from the several countries. Very good morning, Professor Yondors, and also Professor Brendan Howe from Ewa University. Thank you very much for coming. And also Professor Anca Misbah, terima kasih sudah hadir bersama kami. Thanks a lot from Bielefeld University. And of course, the Honorable Professor Djelantik as the speaker, as orator for today, for this session. And another guest from outside, probably Professor Christoph Suk, also joined from Dortmund University. The deans, lecturers, and students. And also I have to greet the head of the FISIP alumni, Mr. Bungkas Adi Chandra. Dear Sir and Madam, bisa slide 2. In commemoration of the FISIP anniversary, which will be 60 years old this year, what I will deliver here is basically a highlight of what the FISIP community has done and will do in the future. Bisa dibantu, ya. The current existence of FISIP cannot be avoided from our experience with the COVID-19 pandemic. And it will be recognized that there is a paradigm shift in people's way of thinking and lifestyle. Likewise, the dynamics of the FISIP community and of course the community of UNPAR as a whole have changed. In this case, FISIP UNPAR must be and continue to be the part of a constructive change in the world. Programs and activities which are carried by members of FISIP community, research, and community must always be placed in a contemporary context that contribute sustainable impacts and the benefits on the development of human civilization. To achieve this vision, so the strategic action are needed, which include first, capacity building of human resources, such as doctoral program studies. So we push all of the younger lecturers to continue the study, especially for Ph.D. program. And then increasing the quantity and quality of research, publication, and community service. And the third, expansion of collaboration both domestic and internationally. Slide 3. What has been achieved by FISIP community at this time. The three undergraduate study program, namely Public Administration, Business Administration, and International Relations, have obtained accreditation with excellence rating. Di peringkat unggul semua untuk program sarjana. This is of course a matter of pride, but also a challenge to maintain and continue to improve the quality of all aspects, both academic aspect and non-academic aspects. FISIP will continue to maintain and improve quality in a sustainable manner. FISIP will also continue to innovate in terms of developing study program by opening concentration that are more relevant to the needs of the community, such as the concentration of digital business and of management in the Department of Business Administration. Likewise, in other which are currently conducting curriculum evaluation, the new curriculum that the development of community demands. So all of the department now are still evaluating the curriculum. The slide 4. FISIP also continuously engages and opens collaboration with various stakeholders. Various activities have been and continue to be carried out related to community and government assistance from the village level, in this case, and is the pioneer in improving village-state enterprise by collaborating with like Astra. Also, the assistance involves many lecturers and students. In addition, FISIP lecturers are heavily involved, for example, in process of formulating policies many of the empowerments carried out by lecturers in business practices, and which support from external parties, such as from I mentioned from Astra International. This is a kind of interaction among academicians, the business actors, and also the community in which implementing the triple helix principle. In addition, there are also students in business competition at the ASEAN level, which are supported by the Erasmus institution. The last slide. Lecturers and students at FISIP also significantly take part and contribute to international scale activities, such as being involved in the formulation of communique related to international investment within the G20 framework, and also in formulation the formula recommendation related to global issues which are held within the Urban 20 framework. So the whole and the complete report will be shared. This is only just highlighting what we have already done, because the time is so limited. And this is the overview that has been carried out by the FISIP community. And hopefully it presents and the role of FISIP, the lecturer and student, will continue to bring better and to support the progress and sustainability and global level, which is based on the slogan Bakuning yang Meriguna Sancaya Bakti et Maiorem Dei Gloriam. May God bless us. Thank you. And as a symbolic, I will give a present, just a symbolic that this is a kind of collaboration with among the department at FISIP from public administration, business administration, and international relation, and also access international collaboration, which is supported by Ricoldo Feco, MUFPP from Milan, and also from the government of city and the province. So may Romo Hendra come here, and then I will just a symbolic to give you. Yeah, this is the book, Romo Hendra.
Thank you, Dr. Prasetyo. Next, I would like to invite the Rector of Parahyangan Catholic University, Mr. Mangadar Sitomorang, to deliver his remarks and also to officially open the third biennial Icon IR.
Selamat pagi, guten Morgen, good morning, Sampurasun. I don't have any written remarks to deliver in this morning, because initially I thought it is the one I already made. Sometimes I fail to do that. I do it in Bahasa. So would be hard, another extra job for me. Yeah, let's say synchronize to harmonize and then to deliver it in Bahasa Inggris. So excuse me for that one. To that FISIP, Civitas Academic Unpar, for this anniversary 6. Congratulations, Pak Dekan, and all colleagues, lecturers, and admin staff, and also students and alumni. And welcome to all our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, speakers. You have already made your time to come down to Indonesia, especially to Bandung, and most especially to this university in relation to the anniversary 61 and also the international conference held by the Department of International Relations. We would like also to extend our appreciation for the whole things already achieved in the last year by FISIP with, of course, not only the 3 study program, but the whole 6 study program, because we have already also undergraduate program, but also master program. So master relation, master in business administration, and also master in public administration. The whole 6 study program make this faculty keep growing and developing. So again, for the whole achievement in the last year, the 6th study program already made such kind of, let's say, achievement, whether it is related to the accreditation status or rating, and also to the development of human capital, especially the lecturer, when they got the kind of, let's say, academic status lecturer level from the very low level up to the highest one as guru besar or professor like Ibu Professor Djelantik. And also lecturer that already got their own, let's say, Ph.D. degree. All this also to be appreciated. And as Pak Din already mentioned about the research publication, and community services are also another things that could be praised and could be appreciated. So again, thank you very much, Pak Dekan, for the whole achievement that we believe this all contribute to the developing of the university as a whole. At this time, I would like to say something also that probably, for me, this will be the last time for me to deliver my remark related to the Dies Natalis FISIP. As next year, someone will be continuing this position. The point behind this is, as Pak Dekan already mentioned about the big challenges we are facing, we have to do something related to, let's say, adjustment. Not just in terms of a set of program to develop our human capital or to increase, to lift up our publication, research, and community services, but also to expand our collaboration, as already mentioned. But probably another one is that we have to do some sort of adjustment in our institutional or organizational, or about, let me say, in a more generic one, the way we deal with this kind of, let's say, challenges. I have something in my mind. Would it be this one the last time for FISIP to celebrate its anniversary? Or would be delivered to the school, to the department alone? Yeah, again, this is something to be taken into account to some extent. Yeah, because we have to change, as Pak Dekan already mentioned. We have to make some sort of adaptation, to do some sort of adjustment, yeah, to make our institution, our work more efficient, effective, and to get such kind of, let's say, expectation or objective or goals in future. So probably again, ladies and gentlemen, Pak Dekan and my colleagues in FISIP, we need to think about the way we face, we deal, we cope with such challenges, and also to get more fruitful result and outcomes. Having said this one, I would like to continue my congratulations to the committee, especially the conference, International Conference Committee. Thank you very much for the whole hard work already done to make sure that this conference happened today by inviting very high reputed speakers, yeah, John, yeah, from Germany, Brendan from Seoul, yeah, Anje from also Germany, with a set of background to show your expertise and your reputation, and all others highly respected speakers. So thank you very much for coming and joining this program. And also to Bang Fedi Hadis, yeah, probably you joined the program online. Bang Fedi, thank you very much for joining and for giving your time to deliver your thought through this international conference. Professor Suka, congratulations for being the orator in this Dies Natalis. Yeah, a great honor for you, but also for us to have you again in delivering this Oratio or speech. To the whole organizer, thank you very much. And to Pak Dian and my colleagues at FISIP, have a very happy anniversary, 61, yeah, of FISIP. And on behalf, and we ask the blessing of God, and based on our all good intent, semoga semuanya berjalan dengan baik. This seminar, we ask the blessing of the God for us and for the seminar to be successful today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sitomor. And last but not least, please welcome the chairman of Parahyangan Catholic University Foundation, Pastor Hendra Kimawat, to give a welcoming speech.
Our guests and alumni, rector, vice rectors, and of work units, lecturers, education staff and students, and also distinguished guests of this international conference. Morning, Sampurasun. Today we celebrate 61 years of this faculty, FISIP UNPAR. Therefore, today we are grateful and happy for the journey of FISIP until now. One of who is also founding fathers of FISIP, Monsignor Nicolaus Heise, founding that the Indonesian people, which had recently become independent, needed to transform to feel the national independence into the society that Pancasila aspired on. In order for the society to be transformed, it requires scholars who are able to see and appreciate social dynamics. The social transformation needs to be planned, it needs to be organized, it needs to be managed so that it is directed both on public dimension, business dimension, and international dimension of FISIP UNPAR. From 1961 to the present, we, the Executive Board of Foundation, express our appreciation and gratitude for the effort of FISIP in managing inputs, processes, outputs, and outcomes of learning in undergraduate and postgraduate study programs of public administration, business administration, and international relations. We also appreciate FISIP for its effort in implementing the Merdeka Campus program. We consider that the Merdeka Campus program has a good aim, but that it must be managed as well as possible. We, the Executive Board of the Foundation, are grateful that this year FISIP has a new professor, Profesor Sukawarsini Djelantik, Ph.D. Selamat, Ibu Suka. We encourage and hope other professors will follow Ibu Suka so that FISIP will academically be stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, the globe continues to spin, our society continues to evolve. We are increasingly familiar with various volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. After turbulence, disruption after eruption have occurred in our global society. This Geyser building, PPAG, has been completed. Please make the most of it. We, the Executive Board of the Foundation, hope that the building strengthen cross-field, cross-unit, and cross-functional collaboration among UNPAR community. We hope this building will encourage our university to be more capable in responding to various national and global turbulences and disruptions. Finally, the Executive Board of the Foundation wish a happy birthday to the entire FISIP community. Hopefully, FISIP continue to develop into one of our faculties that we are proud of, whose alumni problems of the community around us. Long live FISIP UNPAR, Dirgahayu. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the next agenda, we'll proceed to the Oratio session. The session will be guided by our moderator, Dr. Inyoman Sudira. Dr. Sudira is a lecturer and the head of program at the International Relations Department of Parahyangan Katolik University. He earned his doctorate degree from University of Helsinki. And without any further ado, I welcome Dr. Inyoman Sudira.
Thank you, Pak Rector. Now we are going to step into Oratio session. So please allow me to introduce our orators this morning. Professor Sukawarsini Djelantik, Ph.D, CFIS. Sukawarsini Djelantik is a professor at the International Relations Department of Parahyangan Katolik University, and she is also the head of Parahyangan Center for European Studies. She earned her Ph.D. degree from Flinders University, and without any further ado, I welcome Professor Sukawarsini Djelantik.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor here to stand before all of you, distinguished guests, our international friends from several universities, and also to Pak Rector and Pak Deans, our beloved FISIP Deans, and also Pastor Hendra. Thank you very much for your presence. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to our 61st anniversary, FISIP anniversary. And also, I would like to, this is the happiest moment for me in this very distinguished place that have been blessed by President Jokowi several months ago. So it's an honor for me to be here. Yeah. This year is my 29th years of service at the FISIP UNPAR. So next year I will be 30th years lecturing at UNPAR. So this is a very momentous for me. Thank you very much to all of the my colleagues here at International Relations Department who's become part of me, become my second family, and also FISIP. It's already become part of it in the last 30 years. Okay, and my topic today is going to be diplomatic challenge in turbulence era. It's also in correlation with the topics of our conference this year. So this is what I'm going to discuss is okay. I'm going to discuss two main issues that is related to what we are facing at the moment. The first is, of course, COVID-19. COVID-19 have changed our life economically, politically, and also our social life, how we interact with one another. It changed our way of thinking, our way of interactions with one another. And now we come into the end, hopefully, to COVID-19. So there is going to be some change that we are going to discuss here. The second one is the war or the conflict in Europe, the Russia invasion to Ukraine. That's also changed significantly what we happy in one side because COVID-19 have come into end, but we slowly recovered economically, politically, socially. However, what happened in other part of the world is also changed our life. We can say that Europe is far away from us. It's in other part of the world, so it's not going to be affect our life here. However, it does. Yeah, directly or indirectly, it changed our life, especially in economic and in the political way of life. Okay, my first issue is going to be discussing the word post-pandemic COVID-19. The word's now challenging by the economic recovery program. Slowly we are changing, we are making some program to recover our economic life that have been disrupted due to restriction, travel restriction, social distancing, and all of those difficulties that we're having in the last 2 years. And even this is our very special moment today because this is the first conference after 2 or 3 years. Yeah, so this the first time also for me to see my students here. That's in the last 4 semester we only see each other on screen. So and also yesterday I talked with Professor Dors. That is your first travel overseas, right? So it's very happy for us. So we start to recover from COVID-19. And other issues is related to inequality. The world still facing with inequality. However, after the COVID-19, its inequality become wider, because of some issues related to the difficulties in vaccine distribution program, etc. Okay, and other issues related to post-COVID-19 development. Yeah. Other issues is geopolitical tensions. Yeah. We're facing great power rivalry as what we have, what we witness with invasion of Russia to Ukraine, so that the war is also indicate great power rivalry. Other great power rivalry is, we can see in our neighbor that is involving Indonesia somehow, is in the South China Sea. It's the indication is we have conflicting areas in the South China Sea where several ASEAN countries facing China in other hand, and also involving Taiwan in one hand, and in also United States also involved somehow in the conflict of South China Sea. Other issues related to the sphere of influence and add on by the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and humanitarian issues and forced migration as a result of a conflict in several parts of the world. Okay, so the research question is going to be, what are change, challenge, and opportunity in the post-COVID-19 world? How international relations study contribute to navigate the turbulence era? My proposition is that we studied international relations. We studied diplomacy, conflict resolution, international communications, where all of those subjects aims to end or to narrowing the conflict. We studied all of that to make more peaceful world. Yeah. So my focus of study is bilateral and multilateral diplomacy, because as I mentioned earlier, that's how international relations going to change or make a guiding, how this could guide our understanding about what's happening in the world, the global change and everything. And also, there is a strong demand to increase global cooperation, as also mentioned earlier by our Dean. Okay, the first is our economic recovery program. COVID-19, followed by the war in Ukraine, have created world economic downturns, yeah, and also increased inflations and affected to social issues. World Bank indicates that the global growth is expected to decrease, especially in 2022, yeah, sorry for the typo, from 5.5% to 4.1%. Yeah. So this is reflect the continued disruption as caused by the COVID-19, as well as the supply bottleneck. The rebound in global activity, so together with supply disruptions and higher food and energy prices, have pushed up headline inflation across many countries, including Indonesia. Okay, so economic recovery, it's going to be depend on access to vaccine. The first of all, the access to vaccine. Each economy's growth hangs on vaccine availability and efficacy. As indicates, Indonesia is one of the country that with a very high vaccine distribution, so about 63%. Yeah. So it's a very good number in Southeast Asia. Even Malaysia is lower than that. And also, the highest vaccine distribution is China, surprisingly, like about 88%. So we hope that with the third booster, it can increase our immunity, yeah, our immune system. It's also depend on domestic policies, yeah, which varies across countries, significantly impact the pace of economic recovery. Country-specific structural factors also depend on the economic recovery, particularly reliance on high-contact sectors such as tourism. We also now here today, tourism activities are already start to grow. Yeah, Bali is open to tourism. Also, other part of the world open to tourism, and so it's hopefully will change and will increase our economic rate. Advanced economic and developing countries have varied in capacity to execute short and long-term recovery strategies. Yeah? So in advanced economy, where ability to have a work-from-home program, have a higher rate of economic recovery in comparison to developing countries, where a lot of activities and working environment have to have face-to-face interaction. And China, surprisingly, where the COVID-19 was started on, have a highest recovery speed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I talk about the inequality, so this data in 2022 demonstrate the global income and wealth inequality. This data is from 2021. Yeah. So COVID-19 and war that in Ukraine and in Russia increased world income and equality. Actually, when we talk about equality, it's not only income equality, also gender equality and also environment ecological inequalities. But here I only touch on the income inequality. The pictures here indicate that the bottom 50% of world populations only enjoy 8% of income and 2% of wealth. Yeah. And all the data also indicates that the top 1% of world population enjoys 90% of income and 38% of wealth. So this is, we only talk about income inequality. What about others? Gender inequality and ecological inequality. ecological inequality also related significantly to economic and income inequality. Okay, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, let me touch on Russia and Ukraine war. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we are in Indonesia, far away from the conflict, so we can say that we are not affected. No, we are affected by the war somehow. Yeah. It's decreased world economic growth post-pandemic. As we slowly recover, however, it's the war happened, so it's downturns our economic activities. It's followed by economic blockage, especially to Russia, yeah, and also it's conducted by some Western countries, and sanction. It's influential, it's affected significantly because Ukraine GDP is 164.5 billion and Russia 1709.6 billion. So it's increased prices of world commodities, oil, gas, wheat, fertilizer, crude oil, where all of those commodities was exported from Russia and Ukraine. Professor Dors, I'm sure you can talk about this later. I would like to hear what is happening in Europe and how life changed in Europe after the Ukraine, and especially because it's not far from the conflicting area. Yeah. Okay. Also disrupt commodities supply chains, increase of export prices, and increase global inflation to more than 6%. These commodities is also created or affected what it's called food security and economic security issue. I can just give a description, little description. That's about last year we have a decreased number of soybean export from United States and from Argentina and Brasilia, and it's changed our economic activities because it's a source to make tempeh and tofu. It's a very important food staple for Indonesian. So even only from one commodity, soybean, it's affected our economy, yeah, because the increased price for tofu and tempeh, it's very hit some of the lower and middle income group of people. Okay, so why is it not, why I mentioned that this Russia-Ukraine is affect Indonesia somehow? Because we can see that it's here, Russia Federation and Ukraine is the imported exporter of several important commodities. Natural gas, palladium, nickel, coal, wheat, fertilizer, platinum, crude oil, aluminum, seed oil from sunflower, and also corn. So those countries whose depend its wheat, for example, from Russia and Ukraine will be affected significantly in economic terms. Okay, others is related to the role of Ukraine as a major router of gas pipelines. Yeah, the pictures here demonstrate that the energy gas from Russia, when it's exported to some European countries, Hungary, to Germany, for example, they're going to pass through Ukraine and also before it's distributed to other part of Europe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, those are related to Ukraine and Russia war, which is create significant change in our economic life and activities. Yeah. Others is human security issues. We have these issues even before Ukraine and Russia invasion, And now the war in Ukraine add more into this issues of human security. Previously, 2016, nearly 5.2 million refugees and migrants reached European shore from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and other countries and other conflicting areas, especially in the Middle East and North America and North Africa. In 2021, more than 114 people, thousand people risked life trying to reach Europe by sea, where over 3,200 were dead or missing. Of course, this number is varied from one source into another. In July 2022, after the Ukraine war, it's added by 9 million refugees from Ukraine. So it's in addition to still unresolved humanity problem that's facing by the world, especially this in Europe, where all of most Ukrainian refugees will be accommodated in. Okay, this is the pictures of world refugees issue. We can see from the pictures here that is the world still facing the refugees issue, where the populations, especially located in conflicting area, where is it in the Middle East and also in some of the African countries. This is the pictures of Ukrainian refugee, where is trying to travel or to escape from the conflicting areas to the neighboring countries, especially to Poland. Okay, I'd mentioned earlier about diplomacy. Yeah? This the first statement. There is no more serious crime than unnecessary war. Yeah. Isn't it all war is unnecessary? That is a big question. I don't know. Let's we discuss. For international relations studies, war is the failure of diplomacy. So when it's happened war in other part of the world, like in Ukraine and Russia, we usually the international relations study of diplomacy, study of conflict resolution, will try to analyze where is the gap between what it should be done, what it should be discussed, and what should be negotiated. Yeah. So let we believe that war is the failure of diplomacy. Yeah. Other definitions of diplomacy is the art and practice of conducting negotiation. So when we say there is a conflict between the two countries, or there is no cooperation in distribution of vaccine, for example, during COVID-19, so there is the failure of negotiation. Something that you need to come into resolution, but it's failed to reach the national interest. The management of relations between sovereign states and other international actors. So it is the sovereign states, and also, as we know, the actors of diplomacy is not only international relations, also other actors like international, like the media, and also some individual and multinational corporation that also should be work together to solve global issues. Diplomacy also strategies to achieve its national interests. So we have to define first what is our national interest. Then when we reach those interests, then we can say that it's a successful of diplomacy. Other is the coordinate and secure interests using persuasion, lobbying, employing threat or actual force. So we can say that the failure of diplomacy, not only the failure of coordinating and secure national interests, but also diplomacy is demanding endurance, because negotiation sometimes took decades to solve certain issue. For some example, like Bapak Jokowi, our president, when he tried to resolve the issue of moving trader in Solo, yeah, when he was to become the wali kota or mayor of Solo, he need to communicate, he need to meet with all of the traders like 100 times, 100 meeting, and it's conducted slowly and surely, but at the end, we can see that Solo become a very nice place, city, and very organized, yeah. And I can say that's better than Bandung. I don't know, some from Solo will disagree. It's okay, but I can say that our market here in Bandung, traditional market, is awful. Yeah, it's have been years unresolved problem, but this is the works of negotiation in city level. Okay, others is the negotiation of agreement for advancing relationship and achieving mutual benefit. Others is to determine the areas of overlapping interest. In international communication, it's called that you need to resolve the win-win solution. Yeah. Okay, in my paper, I discuss about some diplomacy approaches to crisis. The first is related to COVID-19 responses, how international organizations and also states try to cooperate with one another to resolve, to find vaccine, and when it's found, to distribute equally to the countries needed. So cooperation and negotiation have been conducted by for China, sending personal protective equipment and other medical goods, funding vaccine, research related to health issues, and global vaccine distribution. Yeah. So other issues is how the world will achieve economic recovery program. And on the second issues, a second approach is related to Russia and Ukraine war. Yeah. I divided this diplomacy into two. The first is bilateral and multilateral, and others is preventive diplomacy. Yeah. So bilateral diplomacy related to economic diplomacy, how to solve problems as a result of conflict and war in Ukraine, as what is conducted by President of Turkey, Erdogan, with a negotiation with the two parties, how to distribute food to other part of the world while the war is still going on between the two parties. Multilateral issues related to economic cooperations in G20 level, G7, in European Union, UN Security Council, in General Assembly, NATO, and also in ASEAN countries. Yeah, so as I mentioned, that is in ASEAN. We can say that is far away place, so it's not affected, but no. Even regionally, ASEAN is affected more or less due to issues in Europe, in Ukraine and Russia. Preventive diplomacy is related to how United States Security Council can conduct and apply its mechanism, cooperation, including, for instance, meeting with President Djelantik and Vladimir Putin to discuss and to implement ceasefire and to end the war. That is our main issues, is how in preventive diplomacy is how to end the war, yeah? How to make the war is not spread, how the actors is not, other external actors not involving on the ongoing crisis. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Djelantik. For the next sessions, we are going to have a discussion sessions. Yeah, I would like to invite Dr. Indraswari, from Public Administrations Departments, to give your comment regarding the Oratio, but we are so sorry, the comment is only for 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Should I stay here or there?
Yeah, you can. You can go forward. Yeah. And Madam Suka, if you don't mind, please come forward, and then I'm going to accompany you here now.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Sukawarsini Djelantik's paper titled Challenges of Diplomacy in a Turbulence Era discuss how COVID-19 pandemic has affected societies and economies around the world, as well as current world situations of humanitarian crisis triggered by war between Ukraine and Russia. The crisis brings problems such as forced migration, refugee, global inflation, rising food, and energy prices. Everywhere, humanitarian crises always bring catastrophe to human beings, regardless of their nationalities, ethnicities, religion, and demographic profiles. Nonetheless, it is apparent that in most humanitarian crises, it is vulnerable groups who suffer most. These groups include, but not limited to, poor people, refugees, migrant, women, and indigenous people. Humanitarian crises also worsen inequalities which already exist. I quote Professor Djelantik's papers on 3 types of inequalities. Wealth inequalities. The top 1% took 38% of all additional wealth accumulated since the mid-1990s, whereas the bottom 50% captured just 2% of it. Gender inequalities remain considerable at the global level, and progress within countries is too low. Ecological inequality. A global economic inequality fuels the ecological crisis and makes it much harder to address it. Humanitarian crisis combined with wealth inequalities hit the poor the hardest. Even without a crisis, poverty already makes the poor vulnerable, socially, economically, and culturally. To name a few, COVID-19 pandemic, which leads to massive layoffs of workers, leaves the poor become even poorer. Global inflation leads to rising food prices and cause malnutrition and famine among them. Humanitarian crisis combined with gender inequalities worsen existing gender gap. While refugees and migrants face many challenges in their day-to-day life, women refugees and women migrants face even greater challenges due to gender-based discrimination rooted from social norms and culture. In many countries, COVID-19 pandemic triggers higher number of violence against women. Humanitarian crisis combined with ecological crisis hit indigenous people the most. These people rely heavily on natural resources to support their daily life. Many of them depend on forests as their main source of food and livelihood. Ecological crises which lead to, for instance, forest destructions, make their life harder and may lead them to impoverishment. From the perspective of human rights, these situations also mean violations of human rights, in particular social, economic, and cultural rights of the poor, of women, indigenous people, and other vulnerable groups. Wealth, gender, and ecological inequalities are not separate entities though, instead they relate to one another. Therefore, diplomacy, cooperation, and other efforts at international, regional, and national levels are important to not only solve humanitarian crisis, but to fulfill human rights and to eliminate gaps between the rich and the poor, between women and men, indigenous and non-indigenous people, and gaps of other categories. By working together, we could end, as the theme of this event today, the years of living dangerously, for them and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Indraswari. The comment for the orators will be only one, and is already delivered by Dr. Indraswari. And now, thank you very much for all of you. This is the end of the Oratio sessions. And personally, and for the sake of the Econir, I would like to say thank you very much for Madam Professor Djelantik. Directly, I would like to hand over now the microphones back to Madam Master Ceremony.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sudira. Ladies and gentlemen, to close the Oratio session, I would like to invite the head of Alumni Association of the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Mr. Bonggas Adichandra, to deliver his remarks through a pre-recorded video.
Dear Pak Mangadar Situmorang, Rector of Parahyangan Katolik University, Pak Pius Sugeng Prastyo, Dean of Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, distinguished lecturer, fellow speakers, students, and all civitas academic of Parahyangan Catholic University, especially the family of Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, who's happily celebrate the 61st Dies Natalis. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampurasun. Our world today is facing numerous challenges and problems in the recent modern political setting. We, as global citizens, witness at least 4 disruptions, namely 4.0 industry revolution, climate change disruption, pandemic disruption, and lastly, food and energy disruption triggered by Russia and Ukraine/NATO war, and nation states are threatened to become a weak states, even failed states, if they cannot overcome these challenges. As JFK stated, in a time of turbulence and change, it is more true than ever that knowledge is power. The old statement by JFK is still strongly relevant to current situation. We need to strengthen our knowledge and adjust our strategy in order to survive these turbulences. Therefore, I strongly appreciate FISIP and Department of International Relations to bring this crucial topic, navigating through the year of living dangerously, in the International Conference on International Relations this year. I hope this conference become very productive and produce many crucial analyses and knowledge for academics, scholars, and policymakers. In this special event, I also would like to congratulate Professor Sukawarsini Djelantik, who is becoming an orator of this Dies Natalis, and also opening remarks of this conference. As a representative of alumni, I'm proud that International Relations Department finally get a new professor in international relations. And I reckon Ibu Suko is also the second female professor in Indonesia in the international relations area. Congratulations Bu Suko and International Relations Department. Last but not least, of course, I would like to say Happy Dies Natalis FISIP UNPAR. I hope we can collaborate more, could synergies more in the future for better FISIP and better UNPAR. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.